Good evening, every science fiction fans out in the world. Today, this game show stream is about the Avatar movies that James Cameron made, not the one about the last Avatar movie or anything, so that you might not get confused. So basically, it's gonna be involved about the first and the second movie of the Avatar. I have seen both the James Cameron's Avatar movies, and I'm actually a bit surprised of how well the movies are. And I can say right now, the third movie is currently in the development, and it will be released around 2025. And the fourth movie are suspected to be released sometime in 2029, and the fifth movie are suspected might be released in as early as 2031. James Cameron had expressed of interest to making this um, a whole movie franchise of total 6 or 7 movies. Yeah, and it's incredible how he has even thought of making a franchise based on this. And before the first and the second movie was even made, James Cameron had actually had he done he put his team he put his team on doing this tons of intense research. He wanted to make it very possible, well, most realistically as possible for how this alien world could look like how the gravity would affect, since this is an actual moon, not a planet. So there was actually a lot of intense research of behind how um, animal and plant life would have been evolved on a moon, which was gravity is a bit was I don't know exactly how many percentage, but it's slightly weaker than compared to Earth. And since Pandora, the moon, is orbiting around a gas giant, so knowing how much things had would have been, so we have basically no wide understanding of how life would have been for a habitable world, or in this case, an exo moon would have inhabitable zone around a gas giant. Well, in our in reality, we had never be able to discover an exo moon or even a moon around a planet, a gas giant that is habitable. Well, compared to at least our own system, we do have, in fact, a couple of moons that could potentially be habitable. One of these is Europa around Jupiter, and we have Ganymede around also Jupiter. But then we have Titan around Saturn. Saturn is, well, is one of the planets that one of the moons that could potentially be habitable. Well, Titan, even though Titan is a frozen world, it's currently is impossible for any life to be developed there because Titan is far away from the Goldilocks zone, or aka habitable zone. But if the sun would eventually expand to a red giant, it will happen. Some scientists or astronomers believe that when our own sun was in the final stage as a red giant, or it is suspected that life might be possible to be develop or evolve on Titan, and that life there will last for several hundred million years. But life itself on Titan would not be carbon based like our own, since since a lot of the lakes, oceans on Titan is methane and ethane based. So it will likely be ethane based or methane based life forms. That's impossible. But is it possibly long enough for any intelligent life to be involved? Not sure. It's at the moment it's difficult to tell. But there is one other thing that I looked at, like on YouTube. But this guy put he removed the sun and put a pulsar. Well, let's say, and if we had the strongest pulsar instead of our own sun, the whole system would be thrown out. Like literally, Earth was being thrown out as this orbit, and like any other planets are. And if Earth was being put in the same orbit of one of the moons of Jupiter, well, let's say the temperature would exceed the average temperature. Normally, you say the average temperature on Earth is maybe as 80 or 90 degrees, but putting that around if you put Earth around Jupiter as a moon, well, the average temperature would be surpass 80 and 90 degrees. I think it's close to as 100 or I think maybe up between 100 and 200 degrees Fahrenheit. And but yeah, if that happened, Earth would be completely, then I mean completely lifeless because water started boiling around 100 degrees temperature. So, but if the sun would eventually be red giant, it's possible that some of the world's inner system, that perhaps Europa, Ganymedes, Titan, could have been potentially be habitable. What about underworlds in our system, like Mars? Possible. But considering at least that Mars doesn't have an ozone layer, and yeah, but there are some theories that Pluto, our most extensive planet, yeah, I'm still calling it a planet, not the dwarf planet. Thank you very much. That says that Pluto may actually have an underground or subterranean ocean, like be like on Europa. So if the sun is like a red giant, could the subterranean water ocean of Pluto being turned into like an actual ocean? It's possible if there's a subterranean ocean on Pluto. You don't know. At the moment, we haven't really any confirmed on that. Even though all the research, all the data that New Horizon did send back to Earth, but considering at least one thing, since New Horizon did arrive Pluto back in 2015, it didn't stop by and you just pass by. But despite all the rating, the observations, the ratings that made up all on the planet and its moons, all that information, it took more than a year to even to considering all that information that New Horizon took of Pluto and even transferred all that back to Earth, it will take more than a year. I believe it will took more than a year to even go through all that data. Considering at least before that, we had no idea like how Pluto even looked like. We didn't know what much of the surface was consisted of. And in fact, we had no idea because back in the 70s and even 90s up to like early 2000s, there were a lot of speculations how Pluto can look like in colors. And in fact, even the size. Despite we had the strongest telescope on Earth and even an orb in orbit, despite the strongest and most advanced, like James Webb Telescope, it still would not be enough because Pluto is so far is the most distant object in the solar system that we can detect as much for what just the technology we have. So it's just that. What about the other objects in the beyond Pluto, like Eris, Make, or the other dwarf planets? Well, those worlds are way too far from even to see. Even like the most distant dwarf world or dwarf planet, Sedna. Sedna will take more than more than 1,000 years to orbit around the sun. I believe it was 11,500 years as an orbit, and that is quite distant. Though there are some theories that might even be another planet beyond Pluto, somewhere beyond even Eris and Sedna, Planet X. This is a planet that has been debated for decades. Even Pluto was considered as Planet X at one point. But now, some current research that I read about this list, they suspect that Planet X, or Planet 9, as they call it, might even be bigger, meaning it might even be as one of the biggest planets in its system. Might even be, it will be way bigger than Earth. It might even be as, at the size, well, as far as I remember, it will be rival to size as Saturn and Jupiter. It might be as bigger than Earth, smaller than Jupiter, but maybe around almost the same size as Saturn. That is a planet which they called super Earth. There is another term for a planet that's also supposed to be uh, Earth-like, and that is mega Earth. Yeah, you heard me right. The term is mega Earth. But there are several planets that are being proposed to be could have been a mega Earth. But even if we were discovered on a mega Earth, even if we were able to send people to living there, let's say right now, their descendants, they may not even be able to stand on a planet like Earth. Because if the planet is bigger, just imagine an Earth like planet, same size, an exact same size as Jupiter, the gravity would be way too powerful. If we were standing on that planet, our bones would be cracked, literally. Because just imagine if you're standing with a full packed spacesuit on Jupiter, even though Jupiter doesn't have an actual surface, but imagine full packed suit and all that. You would wait. If you say normally would be maybe 100 pounds, something like that, or 150 pounds, you would be weight more than double, more than triple. Your total weight would be around in the ballpark of 600 pounds, give or take. And that, I'll tell you, is one thing you can't do. Though, but it's the same thing as for people on eventually that will live on Mars. The first, maybe the first two, three generations that's been born on the planet, if they were able to go to Mars, Earth, they wouldn't even unable to do that because considering Mars gravity is way weaker than Mars than the Earth is. If any of the people that lived on Mars for generations, if they went to Earth, they would not even be able to stand much. But unless they had some form of exoskeleton, that might be possible. Even though I did read the Chinese expecting the first child to be born on Mars is 2057. But personally, I doubt it. I mean, we really haven't any even though we don't have the spaceships that able is capable of even reaching Mars at the moment. Then most of the most distant world that we can travel, likely, even with our old space shuttles we had, is the moon. If we would travel beyond halfway from between, say, Mars and Earth, even at the most closest distance between us, they will be stuck. Since those rockets are liquid fuel, though they are suspect maybe as within the next couple of decades, they're suspecting maybe as the nearest first manned mission to Mars will be in around 2030s. There were a lot of problems with it being solved at first, like new type of spacesuits. Like I mentioned, a new type of rocket that can take you there. Like as currently, it's not possible. Using some other planet's slingshot around to get there. Using Earth's gravity is one thing. Use the moon's gravity. Good luck. The gravity on the moon is basically non-existent. It's like it's very weak, so it would not be possible. But yeah, traveling to Mars currently it's not possible. It's not possible because we don't have the type of rockets. But they suspect within the next couple of years, around sometime in the 2030s, that we might put the first man on Mars. But like that, and the next problem that has been solved is living spaces. We know that Mars doesn't have an ozone layer like Earth, so the people there will be really much exposed to the UV radiation and cosmic radiation, which is basically the bad combination to for any people. So they have been planned to build a base by using the element on Mars' surface. Literally building a base and then cover the whole base with a few feet of the Mars soil. They were some of the ideas that I did read about that using a using a flyable base on Mars by filling the gaps with ice, and turn out ice would be somehow blocking out some of the radiation from the sun and all that. That's impressive, but yeah, it's so far it's just only concept ideas. There is one idea that someone literally want to after ISS, International Space Station, being retired. There are some ideas to put up a space station, not being built by piece, but this one will be how say inflatable. Like they will blow it up with air, and it will be almost. I think it's this one will be as a concept. This one will be almost twice as big as the current space station. And there is one idea that someone actually suggested to put some form of a plastic bag concept around an asteroid and put mushrooms or fungi on the asteroid. And why would anyone do that? For a reason? Well, they hoping to that the fungi will somehow use its acid to break down the the very soil or the rocky material on the asteroid to make it very much um, growthable, to be growing and able to grow um, any vegetables or like that. But that happened because they needed those plastic bags around it. Otherwise, the fungi would not survive because no atmosphere, no oxygen, you're completely dead. But that was one idea that some in a contest that NASA actually had for a couple of years ago. But that was like a 10, 20 years step of plans. But the one I mentioned on the asteroid is what they plan for us within the next 50 years. But it's an interesting idea, but currently it's impossible to take care of that. Anyways, let's put this guy in here. So,
I don't know
yeah,
what's up,
still there?
honestly. Uh, who knows,
Tired?
man? A little bit.
Mm, yeah, same here. I just haven't done much today. It's mostly been relaxing and be on the computer for most of the day. In your opinion, who would you ship Starlight Glimmer with Twilight or Rarity? Um, I would say both. I don't see any reason. Um, Robert did ask me a couple of questions last time. Um, the one that he asked about Cozy Glow to being shared with one of the characters. Um, I don't remember exactly which one. I did screenshot that, but I don't remember exactly. But I did ask Figars about it, her opinion, and yeah, she said no to all of them. Yeah, I mean it's yeah, it depends on what the character is. Uh, but yeah, and also I'm currently been working on a new audio series on my channel. Um, this one I won't get much in details. Only that is about the G5, how the new main six travels to uh, to a long journey. That's all I can say. And currently, I'm actually been working on the fourth chapter. It's gonna be eight total, and I have recorded at least three of them. And each chapter is gonna be between 26 to 27 minutes long. The last one, at least one of the last ones, yeah, I don't know. Um, uh, I think when I made for no, wait, not that one. When I made for Fire and Love, the other series between Spike and Twilight, one of the chapters was actually almost twice as long. I think it was over past an hour. The character asked for to put Cozy Glow with Apple Bloom. Yeah, Five Artists said that was a big no. So yeah, I had to agree on that one. But Cozy Glow can still be shipped with many others. In fact, I saw this that someone actually had made art where Tirek and Chrysalis actually had made peace and they had adopted Kosuke as a daughter. And that they were, and at least presumably, that they had reformed, that they were now friendly. But, but, hey, what is the odds that Chrysalis would even get to the idea of being as, reformed? What is the odds for that? In my opinion, equal with zero. Because, as she said back in the season 9, friendship is like a disease. So she may never actually reformed. But it's not entirely impossible. But yeah, that's not likely. Even though there's a chance, but a very slim chance. Well, I don't think we'll do any game show stream today since almost half an hour in, and Malachi hasn't showed up. Kubo is out. He's gonna eat, going to some restaurant with his mother, and yeah, I don't know what else to do otherwise.
Mm,
I was I was originally planning to do this one, but the Avatar movie is based on James Cameron's, the first one they made. I knew for the fact that James Cameron actually decided to make more than one, since the third movie is currently being developed and it's going to be released next year in 2025. Fourth movie are suspected to be released sometimes in 2029, and the fifth are set to be released sometime in 2031. Even though James Cameron actually have shown interest to making a total of 6 or 7 movies. In one of the concepts that they used for one of the movies, which now being scrapped, is that Jake's now Navi wife is somehow traveling to Earth, though she may not even she would been. I don't think she would have been able to even to breathe in Earth's atmosphere. So considering that Pandora's atmosphere is toxic to humans, if you're wearing those masks and if you even remove it, you will lose consciousness after just I think it was like what almost 10 seconds. After 2 minutes, you're dead. But part of the movie is that the atmosphere of the high contents of one particular gas is unrealistically. I think it was the xenon gas or something like that. But there is some question things like in the movies, they have these floating mountains, literally floating in midair. How is that even possible? Unless it's on like if you have a magnet, if you put them on the same polarity, they will like they will move, they will like push away from each other. So like, is that possible that the mountains on Pandora has some mineral? Is like a giant natural magnet, and at the ground had the same mineral and make them push up in midair. Otherwise, I have no idea what is even possible because the the native population Navi they have nothing to do with that because compared to humanity, they are really primitive. Like they're like in Stone Age level. Not even that. So yeah, I've been always wondering myself. The Navi, they had one particular atmosphere. If humans weren't to be breathing it, they will not even survive. So I wondered, what about the Navi? Can they survive in Earth's atmosphere? Possible? Possibly not. I don't know. They never actually make an explanation to that. Though those hybrids, which is called part of the Avatar program, they can. They can survive in Pandora's atmosphere without the problem. Even though that in the second movie they have this the main antagonist, uh, the Colonel. He actually died in the first movie, but he returned back in the second one as a hybrid. It's like Jake is. The funny thing is, the Colonel he literally went, he literally traveled to Pandora, and then when he is in the jungle, he literally visits the site where his original human body is well where remains are, and he literally picks up his human skull and look at it. And you know what else he do? He
No.
crush it. He crush it with his own hand. Later, he's like crash it, crack it like an egg. I think it did. Yeah. So and Earth in the movie is pretty much inhabitable. Based on there are some pictures on Earth how it looks like a complete wasteland, not blue and green anymore, more like brown. A lot of major animals have been extinct, but they managed to clone back one particular animal from extinction. And in the movie, they have colonized Mars, and it became a very popular tourist attraction, where the total population number for both planets, the total, what was it, 20 billion? Or was it 21? Huh, give me a take. Yeah, I don't think we will do a game show stream today since pretty much no one else had even showed up. So that's just be great. Well, I can tell you one thing. Um, I might not be able to do many more streams of this particular month though until it's resets. It's I just passed about 12 hours mark, but today actually though. So yeah, I don't think we'll be able to do a game show stream about the Avatar movies since basically no one else had even showed up. So I don't know. Yeah, one thing is I can well say this: it won't be randomizer. Am I correct?
Yeah, because we're at dad's. Well, I'm at dad's. I don't even know where Roy is.
Hmm.
Still in malls, I think.
If Twilight and Starlight want to have kids, would choose a donor or adopt? Well, that's the easy answer. I used the concept earlier, much before, where Twilight can learn the spell that would somehow combined both both the mayor's DNA, but somehow they create a child similar to as in our world where two the same gender, like a two women, can actually but have they have a donor and all that. But in Equestria, I think like why not using magic for like that? So yeah, it's not like unlikely possible, but so what else to do?
Good question. Wait,
Well, it's not like it wouldn't be that much
what's
fun to
so?
do Hangman as it's only two people.
What am 63? I could do that if I remember where it is.
Huh?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question.
Who do you think win in a fight, Ash or Yu-Gi-Oh? Uh,
Who's
if you
Yu-Gi-Oh?
need like a Yu-Gi-Oh, well, he's a character from the Yu-Gi-Oh series, like where they're dueling with monster cards. It's an anime, so makes sense that you've never
That would
probably even seen it.
be why. I don't know because I don't like anime.
Yeah, I've seen it just a little bit of the original series, and I did see pretty much the whole
Wait, isn't that the
spin-off.
name of the anime?
Yeah, the name is Yu-Gi-Oh, literally based on it, and I did see the
So is there
sequel
a
of that
character
one.
also named Yu-Gi-Oh? Or like
Yeah,
what?
I think so. But I'm not entirely sure. There has been years since I even saw that series. But Ash, um, well, knowing for the fact that he has never been shown any form of interest or uh, experience or expression to be able to literally do a fight, like a fist fight or anything. But if that is what Robert is asking, um, well, who will really win a fight between Ash and Yu-Gi-Oh? Mm, well, if there's like a fist fight or something like that, I don't know. Might be a tie. I don't even know exactly. I mean, they never shown any form of in scenes of Ash fighting in the original series or any others, as far as I can tell. Uh, I mean, except for one part where he tried to punch Mewtwo, which didn't happen because Mewtwo used his psychic power and managed to throw him away like several feet in fast speed. Yu-Gi-Oh! I would say no. I mean, I know for a fact that even though I never saw the whole series from the start to the end, I only saw parts of it. And since he only uses cards to fight against other people with the same card game, so yeah, I don't know. I may have to say it might be Ash, perhaps, but I don't know. Knowing that Yu-Gi-Oh is wearing this kind of a necklace, but a giant, like not say, but a big pyramid piece, and for some reason he can be possessed by a long deceased pharaoh that is connected to that piece. Yeah, that's like possession, but he isn't full when he isn't possessed by the spirit, this spirit of him. He is in full control. The spirit, I mean. Other than that, but yeah, I don't think as much. I really don't know. If anyone even asks me what about some of the characters from My Hero Academia, good luck. I um I I only saw like 6 or 7 episodes total of My Hero Academia, so um, but knowing Almighty, the most strongest person in that series, even though he is being told not to use his ability so often, if he did, it could meant his end. But other than that, I think he could easily beat every single character in this entire series. But oh, in a fist fight, between Ash and Yu-Gi-Oh, if it was a fist fight, I may have to say that Ash might be winning that one. But if there's a Pokemon match, if Yu-Gi-Oh was given some Pokemon for temporarily being used, I think Ash would definitely win because he had a huge advantage. He had been traveling around the world, traveled to constant Pokemon, and he had been part of every single gym leagues, every single gym leaders, and in um, he has even been part of every Pokemon League competitions. So Ash has one big advantage against Yu-Gi-Oh in that sense. Because even though Yu-Gi-Oh may have get some of the basic understanding how Pokemon battles works, but at least I know that even though he get the concept idea of how things that works and had even learned some of the most basic attacks. Well, but Ash would definitely win against Yu-Gi-Oh. He has more advantage because he has more experience. He had traveled around the different regions. He beat every single gym leader, and he did win a lot of those Pokemon leagues. And in fact, he even beat Leon, the current or at least the former Pokemon champion in Galar. So at least he had more experience on how to read the Pokemon's values, their advantage and their weakness. So he has more experience of that. But if they played the cards, then Yu-Gi-Oh would definitely have a more overhand or advantage against Ash because he had been playing the card game, for way longer than Ash. So yeah, who do you think win in a fight, Kosuglo or Puff Girls? Easy, Puff Girls. I mean, come on. They have all the powers, like they're super strong. They can fly, and that even Butter Blossom, which do fact has fire, no, originally ice breath, and but yeah, even as many had shipped. Get this, many actually had shipped Puff Girls with the boys, their male counterparts. But people should immediately stop doing that. Reason? They had siblings. Come on, really? They had siblings. I mean, if those ruddy boys from the Puff Girls has been shipped with Blossom, Buttercup, or Bubbles, yeah, people should do that. Stop doing that immediately because they have siblings. Why is someone saying that? Well, since the professor is the one, the main creator of the Puff Girls, but what they didn't know, most fans probably have forgot, Mojo, he was actually the pet of the professor and even his assistant. And he was the main cause that the professor hit Chemical X container. And that is a molect. But the boys, he created them in while he was in prison. Though he lacked the, you know, Chemical X. So he literally used uh, armpit hair from different prisoners and snails, literally snails, toenails from the different inmates, and use a dirty toilet as Chemical X. I don't even know how that even possible because if you know it, it's impossible for even that to have any form of reaction because none of the things has no chemical reaction. And even when professor made the Puff Girls, he used everything that's cute, sweet, like candy and other cute stuff. Normally, it that would not uh, had worked at all. I mean, if you don't add chemical X, it wouldn't have worked unless you like in a anime or the Japanese version, which is not chemical X but chemical C, which is named of the Powerful series. Which seen it bottom. Powerful Girls, the reboot, the original, much better. Do you think Hoshiglo would be a Jedi or a Sith? Hmm. Ooh, tough question. Tough question. Um, if she was still being part of the Legion of Doom, yeah, she would definitely be a Sith. But if she had shown remorse of what she'd done, realized her parts of what she tried to do was a bad mistake, then she would have been a Jedi. But here's what probably a lot of people don't know is that she could have been a Force user, but not followed either Sith or Jedi teachings. She could still be a lightsaber wielder, and that is what they called Grey Jedi. And there is actually a lot of organizations within Star Wars universe which is considered as a Grey Jedi. They do not follow the teachings of Sith or Jedi. Oh, bye game guy. So yeah, but uh, but there is one true enemy to both Sith and Jedi that they were feared the most, and that is not a person or even an organization. That is Gotortis blade. Gotortis is an actual metallic blade or a material or a metallic element. It's a rare element. If they made a blade of that metal, Gotortis, if any lightsaber hit that blade, it will turn off, like shut off for several minutes. It's only one of the because normally a lightsaber would have no problem to cut through anything, wood, people, stone, you name it. But Gotortis is a metal which is more rare, but it doesn't work on lightsabers at all. It's something in its properties that makes a lightsaber just turn off for several minutes. But uh, but yeah, Kozugalo as a question. If she didn't follow neither Sith or Jedi teachings, she would have been a Grey Jedi. But currently, as she is as an evil, yeah, she will definitely be uh, definitely as a Sith. Who do you think win a fight, Kozugalo or Princess Morbox? Uh,
Who
who?
the hell is Princess Morbox?
Yeah, I have no idea. I never even heard of it. If there's an anime character, well, that would explain it. Let me see. Princess. Oh, come on. More bucks. Oh, wait. I know what it is. That the she is an actual princess, but her dad is a businessman. Do you know the girl from the Puff Girls, the rich one, that who wants to be a Puff Girls, who later turned out to be a villain? The red hair,
Nope.
the red haired girl that joined in Mojo, and uh, her dad is the very rich businessman. That when she asked for money, that she
I
just gave
didn't
it to
watch a
her.
lot of Powerpuff Girls, so no, I
The
don't know.
original. She
I
appeared
didn't
in
watch
both the
a
original
lot of
and
the
reboot.
original either.
Well, I mean, yeah, but well, at least one thing. Kozugalo has at least one thing advantage. She can fly. But Prince Moorbox, well, technically her name is a spell that in that way. It's actually Morbuck as one word. But I don't say it as a spelling wrong, but just I was a bit confused first, but now I looked it up. I know who you mean. Um, but yeah, she can definitely just ask her dad for anything, literally anything. He doesn't even ask. He like didn't. She could demand for almost anything, and and her dad just gave her the money that she needs to. to buy any form of suit that can give her powers like flight, anything, or so. At least with her dad's money, she can buy the things that she can make be able to fly, to shoot lasers, something like that from her gauntlets on her arms or her wrist, like that type of way things. But yeah, but if Cozy was an alicorn, at least one thing, she would have been also given more advantage. She can use the spell that could create a barrier or a shield around her, so the lasers would have no effect at all. But then the question is, if Princess Moorbuck's suit somehow also could generate a shield or even a barrier around her, if that is possible, it she could not be able to use that for any too much frequent. I mean, if her suit has, say, like a berry power, and I can only assuming generate a shield where it costs a lot of power. So using that constantly, it's not recommended. She would drain her power battery or power pack almost immediately. But yeah, I don't even know if that's power, if that type of technology even works. But who will win a fight? Um, well, Cozy had advantage of flight, and if Princess Moorbuck don't have any technical uh, suit or anything or equipment, she would definitely would have no chance against her. Because I think Cozy can somehow uh, fly fast, almost maybe not as fast as Rainbow, but at least fast enough to maybe to create a smaller tornado or something. At least Cozy could fly fast around her, the Prince Moorbox, to make her confused or dizzy and all that. So, but if Prince Moorbox would have had access to formal a suit or maybe some equipment that may give her the ability to fly, which did happen in the original series of the Powerpuff Girls. But other than that, um, yeah, I don't know. But like I said, if she did have part of her suit that will somehow generate a shield or a barrier, well, I don't think she would be able to use that as frequent, since her power pack would have limit, like limit of power. And assuming that if she used that as a barrier almost repeatedly, it would drain a lot of her power. Oh, Cody Laser. So yeah, I don't think that's possible. I'm just saying. But Cozy might have some advantage against Princess Warbucks. But if Princess Warbucks do have a suit that gave her ability to fly, at least Cozy still had an advantage. She knows how to fly. She knows how to maneuver in midair, and she knows how to quickly avoid any form of objects or obstacles in front of her, if it's a tree or a building or any other. Princess Morbucks may not have any form of training or experience beforehand. So that gives Cozy a little bit more advantage. So I think Cozy may have a better chance against Princess Morbucks. I'm just saying though. But it's also possible that Princess Morbucks can possess some form of laser weaponry on her gauntlets on her wrist that could stun uh, Cozy Glow. If she was an alicorn, she could just create this barrier around her. But if she is just a Pegasus, yeah, it wouldn't work. But it, but in my opinion, it might be a tie. It's yeah, it's a little difficult to predict exactly. But if there was Cozy Glow against uh, him, the red guy from the Powerpuff Girls, Cozy Glow would definitely beat because him, which he is known as only by name, he has different abilities. As I remember, he can increase size and has those claw hands like a crab. So I think at least him has more advantage against Cozy Glow. So that's out of the question. And of other the main villains in the series, like the Ruffy Boys, yeah, they probably would beat Cozy easily. If there were three against one, yeah, she will outnumber. But if it's only one of them, maybe. Who knows? But I don't remember the names of these green skinned uh, bad guys from the series. They're the brothers, I think. One is called Snake, I think, because he literally used his tongue like a snake. But I don't remember the names of those brothers. They don't really have any special powers or anything. So, but Kozugo, well, the only advantage she has against them is her ability to fly, and the amoebas, those type of virus guys, the top hat or fedoras. Yeah, I even though they consider this as a bad guys in the original Puffbot Girls series, to me, not really. I mean, it's just they don't really have any superpowers at all, and they really don't cause any much problem for the whole series. The only time they really caused anything is when they stood out in the rain, got sick, spread a virus in the whole town. But other than that, I don't think so. And this guy that lives in the woods, this the pink guy, did those antennas, but usually tells people to get off his land or his property. The one with shotgun or that. Yeah, I don't think. I think at least Cozy have a slight against advantage against him due to the fact that he can fly, but he really doesn't care of any of that at all. Originally, it's just he all he cares is to play his banjo or maintain his property that makes sure that no one's even trespass. In fact, I remember for one scene of his series, he really doesn't care. He really don't, no matter what. Even if it's a grasshopper or even a leaf end up on his porch, he would blast it off. Even when the one that is the grasshopper literally jumped on his head and he literally pointed his shotgun right to his face and shoot himself. If that was real, he would have been dead. But this one, yeah. Ooh. Um. Uh. Oh, but you have some good news, Cody. Oh, that's cool. Hope it goes well. Um. I can say right now. This question that I want to ask is that I know the game guy haven't seen this series, and personally, I haven't either. Only seen part of it, like clips of it. Um. Cody, are you a Scooby Doo fan? Have you seen the most recent series, Velma, by chance? Trust me, dude, it is absolute trash. They even had released the second season of it. And guess what? Scrappy is back. but for the worst. You just seen how it looks like? Oh yeah, trust me, dude. It is absolute worst. Apparently, as far as I can piece after the info, um, Scrappy is a super soldier by the U.S. military, along with Scooby. Get this, he was part of Project Scooby, and his name, Scooby, is not with a Y in the end. It's a I. Or so that Scrappy, let's say, was that he eventually went rogue, and eventually turned out to become as a serial killer, and they assume that Scooby is his accomplished or his partner. And get this, despite if anyone even if you shoot it with at Scrappy in a close range, like say less than 1 feet away from him, right in his face, or even like if you're 100 feet away from him, it would not work. He is completely bulletproof. Even if you shot a missile at him, he would have survived. And it turned out one of the people in the military that was, yeah, kind of like Stitch, but worse, way worse. The thing is, it turned out this Project Scooby, like I said, was a U.S. military program. And the problem is that the one that caused this was part of this project was a general. His name was, I think, at least his last name was Meeting. And get this, he is the father of Victoria Jones, Fred's mother. So basically, he was the one that started the program. And one of the lead scientists in this project was the grandmother of Shaggy. So Shaggy's grandmother was part of this program. And even this whole idea, the project was eventually abandoned at one point. It This is how Victoria um, actually got this whole idea of when she killed those students at the high school. She removed their brains and put them in jars. In a sense, those students' brains and their personality and their consciousness was still intact and still pretty much alive. So that was the idea that came from her father because that's what they had in mind originally. Shaggy's grandmother was part of this project, but they originally had in mind to put soldiers' brains in captured hippies, hoping to infiltrating the hippie movement. This was around during the Vietnam War. But it's, as far as I can tell and what I understand, it didn't work out much. That is why they used Scooby and Scrappy. Yeah. And then for Shaggy's grandmother, she refused to take any further part of this project. So she decided to leave. So and also she refused to hand over her research to the military. So the general put her in an asylum for all this. And let's say, despite that, she never handed over her research to the military, anyways. So it didn't work. So after that, after one of the leading scientists in a mental asylum, the whole project was canceled. It was shut down. And since Scrappy went rogue and became a serial killer, Yeah, basically it's just that. And get this, there were actually a fan made video that I saw a couple of months ago, and even recently, where somehow they was showing in the first season of the Velma, there were no sign of Scooby anywhere. And when I read about it on Wikipedia, it it said that this was like a prequel to how things actually started, how how did the team end up being as a team, and how they started solving mysteries. But I can say now that's absolute bullshit because it doesn't make sense at all. Because knowing fact when back in the original series from the 60s and up to now, Scrappy had been his kind, brave nephew. I mean, except for the one that he was in the Spooky Island movie, the first one he made, where he turned into big villain, and now one that he is turned also the next villain, a serial killer. So yeah, it doesn't make sense. And in fact, and in this particular video, Shaggy or Velma, she remember every time when they were how the in one this one was set place when as the original the very first series when the others talk about how Scooby could talk. And well, basically, Scooby got shocked or stunned about how that even talked all about it, and how he eventually ended up killing them by biting them to death. I think he bites Shaggy or Fred in the throat. And same thing is the same thing is that Scooby recreated the whole universe as was before, but it didn't work because somehow Velma remembers the previous incident. And then Scooby realized he couldn't handle it anymore. So he creates the world again. But this time as when they were still young, like in a pup named Scooby Doo. And that didn't work out because she remembered. And some others, one of those other series like What's New Scooby Doo and all those. Eventually, in the last scene of the Scooby Doo, where Velma is being killed once again by Scooby, and some odd reason I think that he ate her alive or just killed her, and I see that he will try again. Yeah, and the Velma shows makes no sense at all. And and since this was supposed to be where the whole the whole thing starts, you know, back in the original series when it first started, they went on mysteries. They were not any since they were very young. They were at least supposed to be like in high school or even finished high school or something. But yeah, but and now that the Velma series is supposed to be taken supposedly on as according to Wikipedia is to take place before all this solved the mysteries. And as Scooby was like that. And as the original series, or in the a pup named Scooby Doo, that Scooby had been part of Shaggy's family ever since he was a puppy. And even though in the part of the original series that Scooby's family, including his siblings and his brothers, had been part of had belonged to Shaggy's family for more than a century. In fact, the earliest ancestor to Scooby came over on Mayflower, included with his owner, which were a direct ancestor to Shaggy. So they're just showing. that Scooby's family and Shaggy's family had been connected from more than 100 years, from the very start, from one of the first pilgrims. So it's just showing how his family been connected. But in the new Velma series, it's far from that. It's just saying that Scooby has never been part of the Rogers family, even from the very start. So like there are no mention of Scooby, there are no photos of him, no nothing, nada, sip, nothing. It's like he never existed. And then it ended up making that some students literally was turned out showed up dead in the high school. Even when one of the students, one of the girls, literally fell out of the locker with her part of her scalp was complete missing and her brain was MIA. Literally, it's like someone had used an ice scope and scope it out. I know that sounds gross, but it's yeah, and yeah, and even though that in the original series we know that Daphne's family is rich, Fred's not really. At least, I mean, they don't like the upper class or anything, but in the new series, his family is so rich in that he have servants that literally cuts his food for him. I mean, he's a high school student and he doesn't even know how to cut his own food. Come on. Even a 10-year-old can know how to cut your own meat, your meatballs, and you name it. But he's a teenager and doesn't know how? Boy. And he was really narcissistic. I mean, this version of the Fred from the Velma series, I mean, he doesn't know how to cut his own food, and he assumed that every single girl in the school loves him, that they want to be with him. And that when he assumed that Velma had some form of interest in him, well, but she shut him down almost immediately, right? And he assumed that he believed, right? It's crazy. And later on, we find out that his own mother was, in fact, the killer that had been killing the students the whole time. And she ended up dead. Here's another thing. This series is the only one, literally the only series in the whole thing, from the very start until the very now, that has never in a whole franchise history been any murder. Every single time when someone went missing, like one of Velma's uncles, and even one of Daphne's uncles in the series, they vanished. And every time when one episode where one guy or one man claimed to have turned old, like he could have been like in his, I say maybe as early to mid 40s, and he looked at he could have been almost as 7 years old, but that was makeup. But despite that, well, I mean, true, but technically, those Cody, if you're referring to Morgan's Moonscar, Scarface, he died centuries before any of that, and they died. Well, true, they some of them actually did die in the earliest years, like when those cat demons did die before they could even get the sacrifice. But other than that, I mean, they never showed like any literally blood like that type of murder. I mean, since they were, I mean, they were more folks for kids and teenagers, and even like Scooby Doo and Ghost, Wizard of Ghost, when they travel to Massachusetts, they encounter Ben, the author, and he tried to find his ancestor Sarah's medicine book, or that's what she had, spell book. Even though he is pulled in a book along with his ancestor, and that the book ended up being burned to a crisp. Technically, he also dead, but other than that, well, I mean, the ghost didn't die. I mean, she was already dead. But even if that he was still in a book, he would eventually died over years. I mean, he probably was alive even inside the book, but if he was in there in the book for 100 years, yeah, he probably would die by old age. But if the book is being destroyed, like burned to ash, that would. If it was a cyber chase, though, if they end up, if they were in the game, if they like shot him like to dead, I don't think they lived died. They would just end up being back in the first level again. But yeah, but yeah, Velma series is absolute the worst trash in a franchise ever. Even though that Scooby Doo and Mystery Incorporated, yeah, that one from Crystal Cove, it's not really one of my favorites either. And the one that Scooby and Shaggy is looking for his uncle, Scooby gets a clue. Yeah, I saw just a little bit about it, and I just say that one is not good at all. And Velma series, it's absolute worst. I mean, now everybody has Scrappy back in the series, where he actually is a former super soldier, but now that he's a serial killer, and the Scooby might even be his partner. Seriously, making Scooby end up in a new series. Okay, that's something what is expected to happen, but turning his nephew, even though we don't even know if Scooby and Scrappy in Venom series are even related at all, but turning Scrappy in the new series in season 2 into serial killer, honestly, it is absolutely the worst. I mean, even though he's bulletproof, you can even kill him. Even 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 a missile can even harm Scrappy at all. I mean, it's absolute the worst. I mean, this entire series is disgrace. They probably shut it down immediately and ban it. I mean, I have seen way better series than that one. Even though I don't even have HBO on my TV, so that's great. Oh, I could it. But yes, Scooby Doo Velma series is absolute trash. I mean, I have seen better of those original series, but I know for a fact that the game guy is pretty much not a Scooby Doo fan. Am I right?
Pretty much.
Well, that happened. I mean, whole Velma series was mostly focused for older audience, like 18 and older, and when they turned Fred's mother to serial killer in the first season, and now they have Scrappy as the new serial killer or the new main villain. I mean, come on, what's next? Making the whole franchise upside down? I don't understand. I don't understand why. Like, I don't get it. Why? Excuse my French, but why in the hell did even the French original creators of Scooby and even allow this to even happen. They know for the fact that there are tons of uh, Scooby Doo fans out there. Scooby Doo have been brought so many fans for so many years, from back in late 1969 and to now. They have made so many movies, they have made so many shows of Scooby. So why in the hell had they decided just simply to ruin the whole franchise? I don't even get it though. I mean, at least if they weren't like Fairy Odd Parents when they made the first live action movie and that one. I mean, at least that is more tolerant, more it is tolerable. I mean, I have more tolerance to that one compared to as to sort of the others. Even the movie is not good, but I have more tolerance to this that. And even if they were when if they would have make a say a live action version of the Kid Next Door or I don't know, I say Monster Inc. Okay, I can understand if they were to make some live action version of those things. Okay, I understand at least that, but they are at least more lovable, more enjoyable to enjoy. But making a live action series, or at least a series of a one popular franchise, would have been around for so long into one given one of its original series and making it into almost like a horror slasher type. And I mean, oh, that is pretty much the worst. And top of all that, Winnie the Pooh as a horror movie. Trust me, it is absolute trash. I've seen the second movie and it's absolute worse. And in fact, they are in even though they're in now currently in development for the third the third movie of Winnie the Pooh, Honey and Blood or Blood and Honey. I mean, even they are going to release Bambi, the horror movie, sometimes this year, and they are in fact planning to
Okay,
make.
okay, okay. Can we talk about something real quick? Here's the thing
Hmm?
with that, with fucking Winnie the Pooh being like that. The thing is, Winnie the Pooh is public domain now, so anyone could do whatever the hell they feel like doing to it. They can
True.
make it. They can make it like they can make another what is it? They can make
Mm,
another kids show based off of it, something like Sesame
well,
Street. But no, you want to know what they did? They decided the first thing they're gonna do is they're gonna make a horror version of it, which makes no sense. Give Mickey Mouse this. It also
uh,
ended up being public domain.
about
We
that,
get
I
I can't do anything about that, Cody. The AC's on, and I think it's fucking with my mic. Pardon the
about
F
that,
bomb drop, by the way. But anyway,
about this whole copyright. Yeah, there were
they still own the rights, but it's like anyone can do whatever the hell they feel like doing to it. And like, I don't know
yeah
why do they have to make it the first thing they do? Make it scary. Why not? Why would they do that? It's like they could have
let's
done
see
so
here.
much with both of Mickey Mouse and uh what
Bambi.
was it? No, not Bambi, Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, and also that Peter Pan also is gonna be a lot like that. They had shown interest of making out Teletubbies, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and the Powerpuff Girls.
Okay,
But
to be fair, I've said this before and I'll say it again. If they did what they did for the TMNT show for 2014, where they had the mutagen that could transform people into whatever they touch, a horror version of TMNT would work. Teletubbies is so bad, so terrible, so monumentally mindless, so excruciatingly exert of any comedy. It's so bad that anything would be an upgrade from what it was originally. That I'll even take a horror version of it. But Powerpuff Girls, you can't make that scary. Teletubbies is already scary, and like I said, you can work around TMNT, but you can't make Powerpuff Girls scary at all. That's just not how that
True.
works.
You can if you
Exactly.
have you can if you can if you see Kovu Day in any of them.
He wouldn't. There's no way he would. Kobo's crazy, but he's not crazy enough to date one of those walking, talking, homeless psychopaths. They can't even talk. How would they go on a date? How would they know more about each other if they can't talk? I hate the Teletubbies so much.
Yeah,
They
it's
suck
just
so much that
even
I will take the horror version. At least it's adding something. You know what I mean?
yeah. I did read
It just
something
frustrates
about
me.
I tried to find what I read. Let's go see here. Copywriting part of that.
Because again, I'll give
Um,
the mutagen thing this. I don't know if you've seen what they transport to, but it's at least creative. So, you know what I mean? It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I did read something about the copyright on Winnie the Pooh. Um, it's public domain, but part of
Oh
it is
god, I can't
actually
even
it's
imagine.
but
Actually,
part
yes,
of
I
it is
can.
but part of the that series is actually still copyright rights to it, and that will expire in, from I remember, 2027.
I was gonna say
Oh, that was probably based on the
the
actual book, though. I think, but yeah, it is. The whole thing is so bad. I mean, yeah, even though I literally, it's so horrifying now that we have now Scrappy is back. I mean, considering at least when he was first in the live action movie about the Spooky Island, at least even though he was not, well, technically it wasn't that far, but not he was willing to kill his uncle, but at least not the same way as he was evil. He was pretty much
oh for
willing to
that.
sacrifice, but he was not as far as much as to being uh, as the original series or the new version. What he's because in the new version of this Velma series, we don't even know if Scooby and Scrappy are even related because they are still dogs grinding. But the thing is, we don't even know if any of them are even related in the new series. But despite all, it is absolute bullshit. I mean, despite I have seen part of the original of the first season from on YouTube, I mean it's absolute not worth it. I mean, I don't understand how that the Hanna Barbera or the Barbera production company actually you know how they even agreed to even allow this to even happen in the first place. Because when they were still alive, they were the creators of the whole thing back in this, when they made this series in 1969 and onwards. They had made so many series and all that. Even though the first live action movie, some of the live action movies are pretty bad, but you had to agree. The special effects are good enough, but otherwise they're bad. But this one, but Velma series, it takes the cake. It literally does.
Mm.
I don't understand how this even any of this is. I mean, I understand. Knowing for a fact this series has been around for so long. It has been around for more than for several decades by now. And know for a fact how many fans this series has, so many loyal fans. Even some of the previous series of Scooby Doo probably what I have to say was good, okay, decent, and bad. But Velma takes a whole new level. It is trash.
It's more likely
I,
made. It's more likely they made a spin-off on the design that was used for Be Cool Scooby Doo.
okay. Can we talk about something real quick? The thing with Velma 2 is that it has nothing to do with Scooby Doo. It's literally just Velma and maybe cameos from the other casts,
Yeah.
if you're lucky.
Yeah,
I've never even seen it, but I do have a question. Does Scooby Doo even show up in that show?
yeah. Well, technically, I haven't seen him literally show up in
I've
it yet.
never seen anyone talk about it because everyone has the same problems, and I understand where they're coming from. It's
Yeah,
just a disgrace.
I mean,
It's just
because
a big fat disgrace to what Scooby Doo is. I don't even watch Scooby Doo, and even I'm pissed off about how bad it is. Ugh.
Mm.
It deserves
uh,
Scooby Doo deserves better than a. Here's what I'd say: Scooby Doo deserves better than a mediocre spin-off that nobody asked for. That's what I'd say.
oh, okay. Here's the thing.
Scooby Doo also deserves a better series where Scooby and Shaggy don't always get to be bait. Because I think they've had enough of that over the years.
Wait, I do have an important question that has nothing to do with Velma, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Malachite, have you seen Skooks? It's so good. It's so stupid.
I mean, it's like
Here,
even this,
I'll have you answer that question by just quoting it. I'll be sweated.
yeah. And as it is also based on this,
Yeah, that was so good.
audience reception was overwhelming negative for this whole series. The series serves as an ultimate universe origin story for how the Mr. Inc. pitched as a love quad. I don't know how to say primarily focused on Velma, and now they even had Fawn from Hex Girls even showing up. She has a daughter which
also,
now is non-binary.
Just real quick, I just thought of a way that the show could have been better. Imagine this. All right, they could still call it Velma, right? But what if they reanimated a bunch of episodes from the original Scooby-Doo or whatever Scooby-Doo stuff they've got, make it Velma's point of view? See that? Now that would have been interesting. We get to see what she saw during these episodes and whatever. That could have been interesting. You know, that would have been like a way to say, hey, here's another version of what happened. But nope,
Yeah.
they didn't do that. It would have been cool, but they didn't do it,
True.
which is just
And as a-
stupid.
And in
You know,
according to this, yeah, and over Wikipedia in about Velma, in one title says in popular culture, March 2023, Velma focused Scooby-Doo cosmic horror fan made entitled Velma meets the original Velma. That one I did mention where Scooby did kill every single one of those from when it's Papa Scooby-Doo and all that. Oh, get this. Velma was later ranked by several publications as one of the worst television series of 2023. And
Good.
audience response. Here's another thing. Audience response. Audience response to Velma
Deserved.
has been overwhelming negative. It became one of the lowest rated television shows on uh, IMBD, receiving similar lower scores than from audience on Rotten Tomatoes and Google. I mean, it's and
And you
here's
want to
another
know
small bit.
what the producers said? Seeing all that shit, they said that needs a second season.
Yeah,
We'll
I mean,
continue this dead horse if we have to.
even if this entire series is
It's like they were
absolutely
like
makes no
still
sense.
proud. It's like they were
Yeah,
proud
and
of making
and
the worst spin-off they
yeah,
could. I
and
don't know. It's so
and
weird.
even all this, I mean, even all this entire series. Okay, get this. Daphne, she is actually uh, she's not fully American, and this one is actually she more like East Asian American, and even Velma, she is a South Asian American. Shaggy, he is African American. His dad is white. His mother is black. So I don't see. Okay, in that perspective, I don't really care. I don't actually judge if they just change the skin colors of the characters at all. If they just do that, I mean, considering that they had been always been white, and there is one series. I don't even know if it is an actual series or movie or special where they have this girl. I don't know her name, but she is in the mystery van, Mr. Machine, along the rest of the gang. She touched Velma's shoulder, and Velma reacts to it almost like she is highly in love. I don't know, but in the new version, she is bisexual, and in this series, Daphne, she is actually adopted, and she discovered her biological parents. Um, let's see here, what they are. Um, her birth mother is named Carol, and her father is Darren, and both is part of the Crystal Cove gang, literally criminals. And Roger, Shaggy's mother, she's the principal of that high school, and his father works as the school counselor slash therapist. And even though his original character shares similarity to Shaggy's original design, but there is a lot of things about this. It's yeah, it's really so much of this entire series. It makes no sense. I mean, this is supposed to be taking part in an ultimate universe where um, Shaggy, the others are not really friends much. Shaggy and Daphne are like Velma and Shaggy are at least friends, and Daphne is very popular, and Fred is part of a rich family, and yeah, basically he has been so much. He's very dependent on others. He doesn't even know how to count his own food, which is ridiculous. He's a high school student and he doesn't know how to do that. And he assumed every single girl has a crush on him. And when he suspects that even Velma has one, nope, she doesn't. And yeah, and get another part of this, in that even Fred's mother turned out to be the killer, and it later in season 2 reveals why she did this. To turn out her father was a general in the U.S. military. Now he's passed away, apparently in the series. He was part of the science project where they originally tried to remove the brains from soldiers into hippies to infiltrate the hippie movement during the Vietnam War. But it didn't work. But then they created Project Scooby, not with a Y, but an I instead. It had to made Scrappy and Scooby as just super soldiers, and he's basically bulletproof. No matter if you're standing in close range or long distance, even worked. Even a friggin' missile would even work to kill him. So if that not work, what about a nuke or to push him in an active volcano? And a lot of things after this is just it's puzzling. It turned out even one of the lead scientists in this project was actually Shaggy's grandmother. And when the project wasn't getting it as much as they had intended, this is only based on what I read. I could be wrong on many pieces of this. I don't know, but from what I understand, is that they simply Shaggy's grandmother, she only pulled out from this entire project, and the general, well, let's say he wouldn't allow it. So, and since she wasn't one refused to share her any of her research, so they put her in a mental asylum. But despite that, she still refused to even turn over her research. So, in the end, the whole project was shut down. And Shaggy or Scrappy turned rogue and eventually became a serial killer. I was like, what the actual heck? I mean, there is no words in how to describe how I feel about that. Knowing for a fact that Scrappy, back in the original series and even this spin-off series that they made series later, he was even more lovable. Even though there might have been some fans that pretty much dislike him, but at least he was more tolerable. But in the live action, that was a different question about that. And now this. I mean, even though that Scooby was mentioned, and as far as I can tell, I don't know if Scooby has even showed up. And I was not surprised that this entire series had been given so low ratings. And in fact, let's see. Oh boy, get this. It won't be a third season because the whole series has been canceled. That's perfect. Just perfect. So that means at least that is under blue. I mean, I'm not surprised. Considering how things they supposed to be an ultimate universe and how things went completely dark. And even though Daphne has two mothers in the series, I don't think there's no problem with. I don't think you're wrong with that. And how they changed so many things, like Fred's mother being the killer in the first season. Yeah, let's say, and if someone wanted to revive Velma series, I'd be like, if you do, don't expect it won't last particularly long. Because I am surprised that this series was even canceled in the first place. I mean, the first season lasts for 10 episodes, and the second also 10. I mean, it's, even the last. Okay, even this. In the last episode, Till Death, knowing Uncle Scooby is watching her every move, Velma and Daphne swap bodies, pose as each other, reminder of the investigation, Getting the feel of how they are perceived of by others, Uncle Scooby sees through his ruse and intercepted both, and threatening to shoot Daphne after they escape. Velma deduces that their true identity is Sophie, who was been undercover soldier the whole time, concealed her identity as their male superiors who take her seriously. Meanwhile, Shaggy and Lola discover that Dr. Poodoo, which is his grandmother, has the puppet girl's bodies and planning to implant her brain into one of them into hiding in exchange for doing the same for Scrappy. Having a change of heart, however, she put the girl's brains back in the bodies upon being betrayed. Scrappy crashes the double wedding and fatal wounds Velma, but ends up dying after Velma's ghost possesses his body. Dr. Poodoo is unable to restore Velma's body, but Amber reveals that they can revive her with magic, albeit only on Halloween night after finding a spell that works. I'm just like, what the fuck? I mean, yeah, and if that game got if Malachi doesn't know Amber is in the series, that is the daughter of Thorn from the Hex Girls, and she is the non-binary Amber. I mean, it's my only response to all this. This is pretty much shitty show. Okay, I might watch the second season if I could find out if I could. I don't have that streaming service on my computer on my TV, but if I now somehow will find the series online for free, I probably give it a chance of just a watch. But otherwise, is absolutely it's not even worth to see. It's so shitty. I mean, it's not even worth to be just take a shit on. Yeah, it's complete garbage. It's correct, Cody. It is. This, I mean, even though some of the other shows had its moments, there are some like Scooby Doo gets a clue. It was only saw part of it, so it was yeah. And Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated. Only one of that scene of the episode where they had this ghost truck that Malachi mentioned before. Okay, that was good enough.
I mean,
But
they've
the
never
other
had
part,
they've never had particularly ghost trucks or ghost trains, but so that Mystery Incorporate episode with the ghost truck, that was actually the best episode they had.
yeah, even there were some episodes that was at least
Huh?
tolerable and at least good enough. But otherwise, then that series was, I'd be like, if I had to say one of 5 stars, uh, I will give it
I give it a
two and a
two.
half.
I mean,
Yeah, I will give it two and a
I
half.
probably give it I probably give it a three because they had a few good episodes. The only thing I wish was they
Yeah,
made
true.
them like a
But
bit more cooler in action
even
instead
a
of
pup
making
named
skies
Scooby
all
Doo,
gloomy.
yeah, but even a pup named Scooby Doo is at least more funnier. At least than other.
You know, I've actually watched I on B98.TV. I actually watched because I think they had back then a Pop Named Studio. I've only watched 2 episodes, well, 3 actually, and that was the Boogie Biker, the Burger Monster, and the Cheese Monster.
Yeah, I've seen basically every single episode of that series, and I even saw the Scooby Doo and the 13 Ghosts.
Oh, I take it back. 4. I've also seen the Space Ghost one where Shaggy and Scooby skeletons jumped out of their brains, their
Oh,
bodies
that
from the
one.
top
Yeah,
of their head, and drew and took off
But
running.
yeah, even there are some Scooby Doo series that's pretty much good, but there is one that ended without any proper ending. That was the Scooby Doo and the 13 Ghosts. It literally ended before they could even capture the 13 Ghosts. But they later made a movie based on that. And even though the 13 Ghosts was never captured in that chest, because it turned out it was an actual spirit of the ancestor of the musician that they had in this entire series. I mean, that one was it's okay, I guess, but the others they made they were good enough. The original series was way better, but the one that they had where they made Batman, Joker, uh, they they were they were okay. But some of the movies they did made back from the 80s and onwards, uh, the the Ghoul School, where they were teachers, gym teachers, I believe. That was funny. But my absolute favorite of all the Scooby Doo movies, it had to be the Boo Brothers. I mean, come on, you cannot top on that. It is the absolute favorite of mine.
Scram, you snake!
Exactly. I mean, it's so good. It has all the thing. It even had the scary moments. It has a lot
And
of
you know what?
passion in it. It's
And
top favorite.
that actually goes to show ghosts have a good sense of humor because with Farquaad the
Yeah,
butler just listening and the ghost was like, "This is not any of his business. Let me take care of him." Scream, you snake! Ah! Psh!
yeah. Even though that one actually do have a lot of things that was really good. Like they have a lot of some passion. They have some scary moments. They have comedy, and they have. I mean, they have it all. Even the best. Even when Shaggy turned into the werewolf, that was not bad. That either. Either that was pretty good.
No, I didn't like that one particularly because while it was nice to see Shaggy in like an unusual monster type form, I didn't like the fact that Dracula wanted to cheat him into actually continue being a werewolf all the time.
Yeah, but then there is another one that's I do in fact have on DVD. Scooby Doo and Zombie Island. That was not that bad, but I haven't really seen the sequel of that one though. Mention just to mention when I said that I probably would watch the second season of Velma. I literally found I know of a one website you can watching TV shows, movies for free,
And
and
you know what?
I I literally found it.
I I understand. I loved watching Monsters Unleashed because that was like a particularly good movie, but I
Hmm.
was kind of confused a little bit when they were in Wiggles's manor because when Shaggy read the full ghost card and he tells Scooby you found an actual clue. Didn't Scooby also do that in Spooky Space Cook when he found the ham and chicken bones in the refrigerator? Because how on earth, why would a ghost be eating ham and chicken that was fresh? Hmm?
Who knows? Though there is one Scooby Doo movie. Well, technically, is this one? It's not the same category as the other ones are. This one is actually where 1001 Night, where Yogi Bear and his friend are genies telling stories.
Mm,
I actually had that one also, but it's not what I thought it's gonna be like. But I would say top five favorites is no really. But it have been a lot of many of those movies out there, but it made over the years. It's pretty good. Some
they
are
also,
okay,
they also,
others are terrible. But
even the new Scooby Doo movies were actually pretty good. But there's one that I won't particularly want to watch again with my mother around, and that's the Frickin' Fractus with Jonathan Winters. Because when they're in the house, me and Maud Frickin, when she asked the question, "You ever seen a 6 foot tall chicken?" Scooby points at Shaggy, but whenever she says that, my mom always points at me. No
Oh,
joke, literally.
mm. Oh, dude. Since they had made, you know, this darker version of a Scooby Doo series with all that, with Scrappy being a killer all. But what if,
Hmm.
like, what if they decide to make another type of movie, but for different audience, like
Do you
really
know what I
different
want? Do you
audience?
know what I want to see them do?
Huh?
I want to see them like bring back a few characters from the the Scooby Doo show series, like Scooby's two cousins, and maybe bring Scrappy back, being nice and okay, and kind of treat him okay and gently, and not all cowardice, particularly with Scooby and Shaggy, and you know what if they actually had Scooby D kind of be a little bit of a detective bit, but not all smart genius like Velma is.
Hmm.
That'd be interesting.
No, that, no,
And
that would have been.
hmm, and
But
Dom still being how he is with the magnifying glass and saying dum 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 dum.
yeah, he is he's one of my favorites. Well, I mean, you can't beat his character. You can't. But there was one.
Scooby Doo was also funny one, because remember in the episode when Scooby and Dom tried kissing her and she ducked her head and they ended up kissing themselves.
Oh yeah,
That was
who
funny.
could forget that part? Yeah, or the fake Scooby Doo when she just drag her lips and put like just dash on board on the lips and let them go.
From a
Like
bird
what the
bath.
hell is that you? Yeah, that is pretty. But the one thing that I was referring to, if they made is well, if they would make a triple X
Mm,
version of Scooby Doo, that
mm,
would have been even worse. Oh, have a good time though, Cody. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Maybe
mm.
if you can.
What do you think of my name as well as his profile? This was actually one of the futuristic Green War combat trains that I made about a few months ago on Playground.
Hmm. Well, let's see. Nope. Yeah. Speaking of the Powerpuff Girls earlier, there were some plans on making an animated of it, and even a live action version, but both were eventually get cancelled. Luckily.
Um, Also, Swedish. If Fire
Hmm?
Guys particularly, if Fire Guys particularly agreed to the idea of the MOP, like the main six, and Luna and Celestia married to getting find themselves married to some of my train avatars. The one thing I would particularly kind of suggest was what if they had like a, a like a railroad system of track, like a track system that had them moving around to each of their locations, but not taking up too much particular space. Like
Hmm.
you know, like they had
Yeah.
train tracks right next to each of their locations and all that, and the trains were careful not to bump around any of the ponies and all that.
Possible. I could think of that.
Mhm.
Let's see here. How many pages on this one?
Or,
What? What the?
but I do have a backup idea for how that can actually happen. Um, what if, and this is just if, what if they ended up finding, what if the main six actually, like they were reading a book? You remember how Spike read the code in the one comic book and they were sucked inside?
Mm-hmm.
What if they did this a with an adventure type train book on it had like animated trains inside, and they all enjoyed reading it, and they read some code in the back, and they found themselves inside. And since it was the last of the book series and they didn't want to be forgotten, the main six kind of brought them back when Celestia and Luna kind of found out about where they went, and they brought them back over, and they could actually swap between, training pony form, particularly because we actually had that happen in my Dash's second role play, but it was with the Can Do Crew machines from Bob the Builder, because we combined Bob the Builder, Thomas the Tank Engine, and Theodore Tugboat into our second role play. We had the Thomas and Friends characters stay particularly as ponies or a griffin or a dragon particularly, but we had the Can Do Crew machines swap back between their machine form and pony form.
Now that's something that can probably work.
Or they could have discovered, while out on an adventure one day, because they wanted to go on vacation, they found some hidden door and it led them to a world full of anime talking trains, and they fell in love with some of the characters. And then they wanted to have a change of scenery, and they brought them into their world, and they were approved into the world by the Royal Sisters.
Yeah, I feel pretty.
I kind of like that idea better.
Hey, well, I think it's probably time to end the stream here. It's past 2 hour mark. Just a big question. Where were you earlier?
I had to do some running with my mom.
Got it. We were I was originally thinking of doing a occasional stream based on the James Cameron's Avatar movies.
Oof. If you're going to do James Cameron, you better include Steven Spielberg films.
Well, I mean, I only based on the ones that he made of Avatar series.
You know what I want to see you try and do for quizzes? Try and do Gene Autry movies, like some of the Western films he starred in. Gene Autry.
From which?
He's a Western movie actor.
I mean, from what time frame?
Maybe 40s to 60s, because I know he starred in some Western films through those 3 decades.
Well, I mean, I would do since I've done a quiz based on movies before, but that was the one I actually seen in movie. I can't do a quiz based on a movie if I have seen it. I mean, it would have been a bit weird if for example, if I put up on a question, if what a quote of this character say, and if you have seen the movie and you point out that is what he did not say, and I don't want to make that much a big stakes of what happened in the movie or not happened. I'm just saying that, but if I could find some like that or other Western movies, I don't see no problem with that. I mean, if I had done sci-fi and cartoon style,
I mean, what were the chances we'd ask you to do questions on every star that there is on the Hollywood Walk of Fame? That'd be something.
Wait, you mean every single star based on every actor on Hollywood
Like every
Fame?
name that's on the Hall of Fame.
Every single one of them from just every single one of them, but from just one movie that been in.
No, not particularly, because it's not just movie actors. There's also TV actors and characters' names on that Walk of Fame too.
Well, how many stars are there?
There are a whole lot. I'm saying that right now.
Let me check. Hollywood Walk of Fame. That would be. Okay. 2,781 stars as this year.
And you have how many questions on in the cryptid quizzes?
uh, give a second. I will. So far I have. Okay, back there for a second.
Oh, sweet.
Well,
Look what I got to try today.
cherry splash ginger, cherry ginger, Canada Dry. Never heard of it.
Yep. It's actually pretty good.
Let's go see here.
Since
Totally cryptic
1904.
questions. Done. Let's go see here. Come on. Okay, there's 1, 2, 3. Let's see. Done. This one. So that one is not even complete yet. Oh, and let's see, number 1.
Hey, game guy, are you there?
Done.
Am I? That's a good
Mm.
question. Are any of us here? So what do you need?
You wouldn't happen to know any good names for an infinity dragon, would you?
No. Let's see. Infinity Dragon, you say?
And
I
also,
can give you a
are there any
clue.
names
No.
for
Wait. Hold on.
I was also
I
trying to
can
tell you.
give
I'm
you a
also
like.
Call him.
oh,
I can give you a right answer right now. How many crypto quests that I've done so far? 2,349. What? Plus those 2 to 48 on the long one. It's gonna be for Halloween. That makes it 2,597 plus. Let's go see. Where are you? Oh, here we go. Nope. Wait. Here we go. Plus those. Plus those 1,398 questions that I had on paper makes it 3,995. So almost 4,000 questions total.
okay.
And I'm not done yet on that one. I say there's plenty more questions I have found. And I still have 3 quests that are cryptids I haven't finished yet or even worked on. And one is I'm currently been working on, but putting aside for a while. So with all those, it will be total of 32 on my computer, just with cryptic questions, minus the long one. So that's gonna be 32 times 81. That will be 2,592 plus the long one. That will be roughly 2,840.
Also, game guy, some names for a Geist dragon. GEIST.
How about Scrappy?
I actually have a Scrapper dragon.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, he looks like a fucking snake ninja.
Okay.
He looks
Didn't
like a
expect that.
snake. He looks like a snake ninja version of Shredder.
Okay.
No
I'll take
joke.
Well, I'll probably end here. So,
I mean, I have
well, everyone.
I have a con dragon, and he looks just like Kovu.
Not
I'm
surprised at that.
kidding.
I would not be surprised if they did. Well, everyone, this has been fun. Yeah, this is Fish Diablo signing off. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, I guess. And goodbye.